Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Night Dead. Matthew Slozer here from Autumn Moon Paranormal in beautiful Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Doing something different tonight. We're going to kind of have this be open-ended, kind of like how we do the after show when I do those. So kind of an open discussion tonight, kind of doing questions, ask Matt. So if there's anything, hey, Carson, anything you want to ask tonight, this will be kind of open question night. A couple things here. Man, Dragons always changes his name. Now it's Dragons and Seven Apples. Hey, Dragons, happy to have you on. This is my last weekend before my back to work. So my COVID working from home thing ends next weekend. So hi, Exploring with Fluffy. Hi, Blanca. Happy to have you guys all on tonight. So this is kind of a open topic night. So we're just going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Do questions also for those interested. I usually do this with when Sarah is on with me. But anyone that's so interested, I have my steampunk cards here. I'll be happy to pull a card for anyone who wants that. So yeah, I don't think it's going to make any big changes to the show, but we'll have to see. We'll play this by ear as I transition back and see if I have to make any modifications to how I'm doing things here. Hi, Christine. Also, another disclosure, I have, hey, Heather, happy to have you on. We are in the middle of the pollinating here in North Carolina, and it is exceptionally bad this year, even though we had rain not that long ago. Usually the rain kind of knocks it out of the air, and I am reacting very badly to it. So yeah, so I don't know if how good my voice is going to be, or, I could start rattling off like tons and tons of sneezes, which hopefully doesn't happen. So I'm just giving that warning in advance. Also, Dragons knows I'm toasting my birthday, and I'm doing this deliberately because this really, I don't deliberately trigger people, but this really triggered somebody during my QAnon show. Is it wine? Is it adrenochrome? Am I 84? Am I 32? Anyway, so Mary Beth wants a card to know how her week's going to go with her grandson. Let's see. Hey, if anybody and I'm just going to do a little plug. If anybody watches our show on Tuesday, I do with Sarah, where we make little predictions. I did say I'm off by a couple hours, but I said that Sunday. The news story on Sunday was going to be a major, like somebody put their foot in their mouth and said something without really thinking, and it was going to be in the news. And so if you knew, Biden Saturday night made a comment that was could be interpreted as regime change, asking for regime change in Russia. And so that was kind of talking about a lot in the news today. So, all right. Queen of Cups, that is nurturing, loving. This is a nice card. So I actually think, Mary Beth, in the terms of your question of how this week is going to go, I view you as kind of the Queen of Cups in this. Cups is emotions. And so I think you're going to have a fantastic week babysitting your grandchild. So I hope that goes very well for you. So as I said, it's going to be open-ended. I was kind of feeling a little under the weather for a good chunk of the week. So I didn't get to do as much research on topics as I wanted to. And there's also a really cool story. And this is actually I'm kind of joking with the conspiracy theory stuff here. It's not, but there is a really cool story that I was researching that I was actually going to do this week. And it's weird. I found a bunch of videos on it. And then I went back. Heather. So what happens with me on this, you'll see it. I'll just go do a hi, Heather. But on StreamYard, all the chats go on here. So I'll respond. When I respond, it'll go out to everything. But yeah, so you guys know, if you're on YouTube, you're only going to see the folks that comment on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook one. So just keep that in mind. So you may not see all the chat comments on here, but I will talk to them. I will try to share any comment that we do a deep dive on here, just so you guys know, so that no one feels left out of the loop here on this. Anyway, really cool story. So I'm not going to give it away, because then, how this ends up working, I'll end up seeing somebody else do a show on this next week. But really cool story, and found all these videos, and then I went back to research it, and now it's almost like one of these like Mandela moments or something. Like I can't find it like at all. It's very weird. I'm like, did I like imagine all this? Like, did I imagine this story? So that's partially why we're doing like open topic night tonight, because I spent most of the week that I would normally spend researching a story, trying to find this story again, because it was really, really cool. And so I didn't get my next story set up. So it'll be good. So we'll do that in the future, or do a different topic. So it's funny too. I did last week. We did the Japanese death cult, and I ended up seeing like 2 or 3 stories this week. I haven't heard anything about that in ages, which is why I did it. And now it might be just because of an algorithm or something. I've come across like 2 or 3 stories referencing them this week, mainly around anthrax. So yeah, but it's weird. This story is really cool. Like I said, I don't want to give it away, because hopefully I can find it, and we'll do the story on it again soon. It's kind of a more in the alien realm, which normally I don't do a whole lot of stuff on, but I do have a bunch of stories lined up for that. So it'll be pretty cool. It's a really weird, I'd never heard of it before, and it's a weird story, and it's just odd now that I found a whole bunch of videos on it out there, and now I can't find like anything. I can't find like any references to it. Even the location, like the town and everything where it happened, the country where it happened, you do references for it, and it's like gone. So it's very weird. It's like, again, one of those, like, you start second guessing your own like sanity. Like, did I make up this whole entire story, or was it real? So did I watch Night Stalker? Carson asks. You mean the documentary on the serial killer? We'll do one on him eventually too. That's a creepy one, and I'm old enough to remember when that was. Now I'm an East Coast person, so like I didn't have close where that was something that I had to, it's not like I lived in LA during all that, but I remember when that was all going on, and it was pretty creepy. So Mary Beth asking, I'll try a different browser again. It was just weird that I found it in a lot of spots, and I thought, oh, this is a cool one to do a story on, and then all of a sudden, like, I can't find it now. But when I do, it will be a cool one, because it's really weird. Yeah, and Carson, so as I said, I kind of mix it. It's weird. I'd rather do, and you saw it with the Russian doll maker, and this last one we did with the Japanese death cult. I want to do ones that aren't as common. Like I did Manson, and like I can do Mothman, and these ones that are like all. It's a real weird trade-off, as I've kind of been watching this as I'm doing the channel, and it's kind of like growing, is I want to do the odd ones, because the last thing you want to do is like do a Me Too. But it is kind of weird in that, you do something that everybody does. Like probably if I did a Bigfoot one, which somebody asked last week, if I do a Bigfoot one, you'd probably get a whole bunch of people watching it, but there's like 300 Bigfoot ones out there. You do something odd that there aren't a lot of videos out on, and you don't get as many people to watch it, which I guess kind of makes sense, because you don't have as many people looking for it. But as far as like trying to do something unique and doing something that folks aren't, that isn't as well known, obviously I'd rather play in that space than, do stories that everybody else is doing. That's partially why I've, people that have been with the show, and a lot of you in the chat have been with me since the beginning. So I really appreciate all that. If you know that, we kind of mix things up here, but it's a mix of online live experiments, kind of these interesting topic shows. And then, we'll have some guests on periodically, but it's not, a guest show every week. It's not the same thing every week. We try to mix it up, and I try to do it a little bit different, because I don't want it to be like a Me Too, doing the same thing where you're basically cycling through the same folks asking the same questions that everybody else asks. So trying to do that. Hey, Sylvia. So Again, open topic night. So anything you guys want to talk about? Also, I was actually going to even entitle, I'm going to turn off, I got a heater on behind me. It's uncharacteristically cold. Just saw back home in Pennsylvania, they were actually getting like snow flurries today. So I know most of the country is getting this uncharacteristically cold thing. I was going to actually even title this Ask Matt. So I will leave this open. Anyone that wants to ask a question, as long as it's not something inappropriate, we will make this a gigantic Q&A session. We can make it a topic thing, but I will kind of turn it over to you all, the audience here, to discuss and talk about anything you would like within the boundaries of decency. Gotta say that ahead of time in case we get any trolls. It's actually been, I'll probably jinx it now. We've been pretty good with the trolls. Not too many trolls lately. So and if nobody's got any questions or anything specifically they want to talk about, I will just keep monologuing on here. We got a lot of. Do I have any EVP apps for phones that actually work? I do not. I actually do not use my phone for investigations other than, and this is probably funny, there's some people this will probably be like considered blasphemy for me saying this, but I have to explain this. I will use Ghost Radar, but I will use Ghost Radar in a way in which I guess technically it's not intended. So I don't use it as a way of communicating. I will use it as a kind of a secondary thing to see that if I get names or anything on there or any words on there, I will then utter those names or ask questions around those names to see if I get any EVPs on the recorders referencing those names. So almost like a idea generator of things to ask about or things to go along. So I never use it as a primary source of, oh my God, it said this, or oh my God, it said that. But I will use it as kind of a prompt to see if there's anything that I can get as like a secondary type. And it has actually, it might just be coincidental, but it has actually worked on occasion. But so on the app thing, again, I don't want to make a blanket statement. There might be some good stuff out there. I have not used apps out there for most of my investigations things. Heather asking about Streamers. Heather, Streamer is actually the program that I run to do this show. So you'll see this on YouTube or Facebook or these different, but there's actually when folks do these for like podcasts or videos, you need to have some kind of program that you actually do the show off of that then streams it out to different platforms. And so on my chat, I have all my chat all in one place, which is that chat goes out to all the different spots. So that's what I was saying is some of you are on YouTube, some of you are on Facebook doing the chat, and you're only going to be able to see the Facebook folks. I see it all on one chat. So that's why I'm trying to at least verbally say what's out there so folks can stay in as what's going on. But that's what's going on. If you're on and you hear me like reference a chat or a comment that maybe you're not seeing, that's what it is. This beams out to like 8 or 9 different sites. And so that's what's going on there. Hi, Steph. Happy to have you on here. Again, so folks that may have come on late, doing it a little different here, but we're doing kind of an open topic, kind of a Q&A night, because as I was saying earlier, I'm almost having this experience with the Mandela effect in that there was a really cool topic I wanted to do this week, and I spent most of the week trying to find it because I found tons of videos earlier on it, had it noted down as one to do, and then I came back to start investigating it, and I couldn't find any of the sites, so it was really, really weird. Mary's asking about the ones that scan through radio channels. So yeah, I've never done that on a phone app. I mean, I have a Spirit Box that I've used. Folks that know, I've done live shows on here doing it. I like the Phasma Box, which is a program that I use on a computer. I don't know if they have an app version of that. I kind of just go with what works. I know Katie, I don't know if she's on with us tonight, but Katie has some apps and has done some pretty cool stuff with Spirit communication devices. We've done some experiments with her on here. She's got a cool app with it. So in general, I've had enough interactions that I believe in that concept I believe the concept works. I have not found anything phone app wise that I use that I like. All right. Getting caught up here. Sorry, guys. Making an open Q&A only works if you actually keep up with what's on here. So give me a second here. Wow, Christine says it's 90 in Texas. Yeah, where it's gotten cold here again. We were below freezing this morning, which for this time of year, that's cold. We can kind of go either way here. I mean, we've had like snow flurries and stuff in April, so I mean, it can go kind of either way. So no, Heather, everyone's on a streamer. It's probably a good mix between the Facebook, maybe the Sunday Night Dead. I'm not sure which Facebook people are seeing on, and then the YouTube on Sunday Night Dead are probably the two biggest. All right. Christine is referencing Easy Voice Recorder as one that works for her. So I'm just throwing that out there. I've not used it, but she's saying that one has worked with her. I have a question here. What do you think about the use of intentions as clearing a haunted space? Yeah. I'm sorry. It's why I'm hesitating here is intention is kind of it's kind of a gray area. I believe there is, and this is why whenever I have, and remember on all this stuff, this is world according to Matt. I know there's some folks that, like to tag like the expert and then say like they're, they know all this, but I will say that for the most part, meaning no disrespect to any of those people, but for the most part, I would call bullshit on that. This is all theory. No one has proven any of this stuff. So really it's all the realm of opinion. So this is my opinion. But when I have done work, and I've had good success in quote unquote cleansing or clearing houses and things. My own personal philosophy is it has to have a lot to do with the belief of the people in the house. So, whether that is placebo effect or not, they have to believe whatever you're doing in the house is going to work in order for it to work. So I always believe that whatever you're going to do, ritual or procedure wise or anything on that front, has to align with their beliefs enough that they believe in it. So if that, in that respect, if you're calling that intention, then I would say yes, intentions can do that. Do I believe you can just simply will something away by saying you are no longer here? No. And that in every case can simply doing, some kind of ritual make something leave. And in some cases, does it even leave, or is it more of a placebo effect that the people believe it's gone, so they're no longer noticing it? Because that's the other thing too. I am 100% convinced technically everything's haunted because I believe it's all around us all the time. It's just some people notice it, some people don't. And kind of the busier you are, you can kind of just not pay attention to what's going on. That's why I honestly think to some degree there were more stories in the past. When you think about how life was 200, 300 years ago, it was a much more quieter, less sensory overload type space. So there was more opportunity to interact with your environment and things around you than now, where we're inundated with so much sensory overload that we don't see or experience as many things. But again, this is just world according to Matt. And now I know there's a lot of comments in here, so I'm just trying to get caught up. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm kind of just working my way through our Dragon says he likes the electronics I use. Thank you. All right. Just kind of getting through here. Sorry. All right. Heather's got a good question here. Just let me know if I'm answering it or not. Anything metaphysical, paranormal that you have ever wanted to do but haven't yet, and why not? Oh, okay. That's a tough one because I kind of feel like I'm and it's funny because I know people that would view this as like a red flag, like I'm crossing areas that I shouldn't, but I feel kind of like I'm almost an explorer in this space. That curiosity has got me into kind of dabbling in this in the first place, and the more I kind of dabble in this and look into it, the more I want to kind of get into it and research it, and that's really kind of what drives it for me. There's an element of wanting to help people, particularly kind of like that anti-bullying aspect. If there's something that's picking on people, I'm kind of wired to want to like punch the bully in the nose. So if somebody's getting harassed by something, I want to deal with it. But that's kind of secondary. The primary thing here is really curiosity as to what's all this about, what's going on around us. And the more you dig into it, the more things you experience, the more things you learn, the more it's like just kind of unwinding it. It's like, okay, this is really interesting. So, there's something to this, but what is it? So I don't know if I'm actually going to answer your question here or not. In that, as I dig into this, it opens up more things. So I kind of want to keep exploring in this. Does that mean something specific that I haven't tried yet? No, I want to keep digging into this. Are there areas and places I would love to? I mean, if I was independently wealthy and had total access to anywhere, there's a lot of places I would like to go and a lot of experiments I would like to run. Some of them, we've talked about this a little bit, and this might tee up some questions that I may or may not be good ones to answer. I don't know. There's a lot of places in the world that I think if you really wanted to investigate these phenomena would be really good places to investigate. And I don't mean doing a little show, where you cut it down and do like an hour. I'm talking more like real, almost like a mix between what would happen academic wise and the shows, like, set up maybe for like a week and try to gather as much information as possible and see what you can get, trying different things, trying different, a little more stringent, which is a little different when you're not doing it for the entertainment aspect. And I get it. Like this, the shows are for entertainment. They're not for really expanding knowledge in the area. And this is kind of a fringe area that it doesn't really get the backing to get the kind of money that you would need to do it more academically. So I totally get kind of where that falls into. To that, and I feel like I'm kind of going on a tangent here, some of the topics I will do on this show when we do the topics will be the history and locations behind some of these that I feel have enough tragedy and enough energy to them that if you wanted to do a deep dive, if there's some place on the planet that is haunted, these would be places. And these would be places that an extensive investigation would be worth doing. But oftentimes, because of the sensitivity around these areas, these aren't places that would easily, there's a sensitivity issue to doing them. I hope that answers your question, Heather, the best I could. All right, keep going down here. I have brought my daughters to haunted I've brought my daughters to both private and public investigations. They have had quite some interesting experiences in both. Some very interesting experiences in Tala. Another question here on the intention. If it is an intention that needs to be said out loud, I mean, are spirits essentially people that saying out loud and talking can't hurt? I agree with that. And that's where I think it gets a little I'm sorry, I'm just gathering my thoughts here. So I apologize to anyone that's watching. They're wondering, like, what's he doing? Is he having a stroke? This is where I think you need to be careful. They're not, I always say this to people, they're not roommates. They're not entertainment. They're not your friends. Even if you don't mind them around, and I'm just giving you guys, oh no, okay. I thought I had, my family's out and I thought they were coming home, which I was going to give you guys a dog warning. What I was getting at is that interaction. I would always say minimize the interaction. Now, this is funny because I'm technically a hypocrite here because I will do experiments in my house. And then I tell everybody to minimize your interaction. But the reason why I say that is I do believe that interaction will invite more interaction, not only from what is already here, but it can bring in other things. And I believe, again, world according to Matt, not everything out here is a human spirit. Now, I believe I always talk about the 4 blind men or the 5 blind men and the elephant. I forget exactly what the number is there, but different traditions, different religions, I think, explain the same thing differently, and then they get into arguments and fights over it. Angel, demon, whatever. There are, in my opinion, other things that exist in whether they're different dimensions, whatever you want to call it, outside our physical experience. What they are, who knows? But I believe they're human spirits, and then there are other things, whatever they are. Having that interaction, you don't know what you're interacting with. And I do believe that interaction can invite more interaction. So that's why I always advise, if ever I'm working with someone in private, don't, outside of a maybe, if you're having if something's really noisy, you're having lots of noise or something like that going on, maybe okay, we hear you, that's enough. Something like that. But I wouldn't have conversations. I wouldn't talk to them. I wouldn't go reaching out. I wouldn't treat them like they're a member of the family, anything like that. I think that kind of opens up problems. Obviously, every situation is different, but as a general rule, that's where I would go with that. Okay, scrolling through here. Baby powder on the 4-foot footprints. I have not. I've been interested in that, but I have not. I have never wanted to mess up somebody else's house, and I've never done it in my own. I don't need to mess up my house any more than it's already messed up. But I do like that. I'm curious because I've never had anyone that. I gotta be careful how I say this. I'm not indicting anyone on this. I have no one that I know well enough to vouch for their integrity, do it, and get a positive result. That's the best way I can say it. So if anyone has claimed it, I'm not saying that it's BS. I'm just saying that I don't know them well enough to know one way or the other. Yeah, so somebody's asking about, they want to know if a friend's still hanging around. Yeah, I would say I do not open up trying to converse. Mary Beth, that situation is just ripe for something else jumping into that space and messing with you. And so I would highly, highly advise to not go there. That is just my own opinion, but I would not go there and I would not do that. That is my own thought. Troublesome. What do you asked me to get another one? Is that I got to switch to my soda now. I'm not sure if that's what Troublesome was getting to there, but hello. Glad you've joined us. Hi, Jason. So again, this is kind of open topic night Q&A. I'm kind of doing you can ask me whatever you want within the bounds of decency. I agree, Heather. Yes. Not enough time in the day and not enough energy in the coffers. Yep. And that's what I think. Yeah, that's why I have always, even way back when I did the Blog Talk show, and there seemed to be more. I don't know. There might be just as much paradrama now. It's just I've decided not to devote energy to it, so I just kind of let it all flow through me or past me. There was more of it I felt like I had to deal with back when I did the Blog Talk show, but that's why I was always just live and let live. Let people do their stuff as long as they're not hurting anyone or damaging property. Everybody's explorers. I think it's probably calmed down now because I really felt like back then every aspiring actor, actress, model, anyone who wanted to get known thought this was possibly a ticket. So everybody was trying to get a show and then fighting each other to, get get spotlight, and it was all kind of silly to me to see it all. So then they were all kind of fighting to show that they had some kind of expertise or some kind of niche. And at the end of the day, it is all theory. As much as people want to show otherwise, it's all theory and opinion. And so I wish everybody well. I don't get sucked into all this stuff. I have no problem. Now I think my car's coming in, so you're going to hear dogs in a little bit. I'm just kind of, I'm a live and let live. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, have fun and don't hurt anyone. And let's have less. There's too much drama out there. We need less drama and drama queens out there stirring up shit. Alrighty, let's keep going down here. Yeah, Mary Beth, I would not try anything. That's not. Again, it would be too easy for something to hop in that space. So. Steph says, sounds like I'm talking to her. She doesn't mind having them around, thinks they're nice. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, here's the thing. I have stuff hanging around me. I've had people tell me that the stuff hanging around me is demonic. Do I believe that? Not necessarily, but I certainly take notice to it. So, yeah, I mean, it's. I have dreams where things come through and say they want to hurt me. So, because of that, I certainly am very cautious on this stuff. See, there's the dogs. I just be careful. You never know what you're dealing with, and you can always have kind of that imposter thing. Even if something is one thing at first, that doesn't mean that something else isn't going to slip in and pretend to be that later. And so since you don't know what it is and you can't really tell for sure, I advise not interacting. Even if they hang around, just don't encourage it. All right, kind of getting caught up here, guys. So just give me a chance here. Christine says the negative happenings are caused by 90% are malevolent human spirits. If they were a jerk in life, they were a jerk in death. That's probably true. Again, I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know what's out there and what's I would tend not to disagree. But yeah, I don't know don't know what we don't know. So, yeah. Let's see here. So I'll share you guys my story. So I had on 2 consecutive nights, like 2 weeks ago, I tell you guys I have weird dreams. I had 2 consecutive nights, 2 dreams where 2 things showed up, and I didn't know their names. One gave me a name that I can't find. The other one gave me a name that I found later, or gave me an image that I found later. Obsidian butterfly, which actually is an Aztec. I'll call it demon, but it's like kind of like goddess. But it's interesting. It was 2 nights in a row where these entities showed up, and they basically just stated their intent that they were going to kill me. And so it was very, very weird. Again, one was this obsidian butterfly. The other one was like this Victorian looking. It said her name was Rosamund. And so, but they both kind of just showed up and said, we're going to kill you. And that was it. So I don't know. So certainly stay on my guard. Okay. And my fish are right. Yeah, my fish are all right. The tank is low. I have the light off because the water's low because I didn't have a chance today. I'm draining it. The fish are fine. Funny. I didn't want the light on highlighting how low the water level is because I'm gonna drain it because I'm changing the cover underneath it. I have most of this room has like a haunted mansion theme to it. You can't see all the stuff to it. Some of it you can, some of it you can't. I mean, it's got other stuff in it too. It's got like Trans-Allegheny and like ghost stuff. I got gargoyles. I got a bunch of other stuff up here, but it's also got like a Haunted Mansion vibe to it. And so kind of, I don't even know if you can see my cursor here, but down there, it's going to get a Haunted Mansion makeover there. So that's why the light is off. So, all right. Okay, I'm missing something here. Dragon says, felt like I was pushed to the ground. 1 week later, his brother was pushed to the ground, never said a word to it. 1 month later, fell and separated ribs. 2 weeks later, his nephew separated his ribs. No, could be. We did a live show in the basement here afterwards. We've had I had a friend push down the stairs down here in this house. Again, down near the Harry Potter door. If you've been here, if you've been on the show long enough, you know we've done shows in the Harry Potter door. I was talking earlier. My daughter, I think I was talking about this last week. My daughter just told me not that long ago when we first moved in here, she crawled in the Harry Potter door and was in there in the dark. And then it almost sounds like a horror movie. She said she was in there and then almost in the dark, she thought she saw like the shadow of like another kid, like in the Harry Potter door with her. And then she was like, oh, hell no. And like crawled back out. So now I'm like kind of thinking maybe I want to go in the Harry Potter door and like do a live show in there. But I don't know. We got to see. I don't even know if I'd fit in there and I'd have to make sure all the spiders are out. So, no, probably, I mean, it could be a coincidence, but that does sound kind of weird. And I know we did some stuff a couple weeks ago talking about I think that was near your land where there was all the coal mine stuff and like people dying and stuff. So, kind of weird there, Dragons. All right. Yeah, I was gonna say, Steph, which we still have to follow up on that picture you had. I know you think they're nice. I don't want to get into it. That picture you sent, I get bad vibes from that picture, but not from the actual. I know some other people have different vibes. I don't get a bad vibe from your picture of what the picture's of. I get bad vibes from the story behind it. All right. Mary Beth says she gets it. She used to have a fish tank. Yeah, they're a pain when you need to move stuff in there. It's due for a water change. Alrighty, just getting caught up here. Harry Potter. I don't know where that one came from, but actually it's funny. I got my wand. I got a really cool Harry Potter wand on the piano. Probably right over there. I don't even know if you guys can even see the cursor, but off to my, I guess it'd be the screen left. Okay, scrolling down, getting caught up here. Again, this is kind of an open question night. There's my friend Macy, who's always joined. She gets upset if I don't say hi to her. So, hello, Macy. I heard you were on TV on our local news, so you're a star now. I tend to agree with Christine. I don't necessarily believe in coincidences, so. Dragon says it felt like a huge hand on their back and then shoved them down. Wow. Have you ever had anything like that happen before, Dragons? Or did anything else happen around that time? All right, we'll see what else Dragons has to say. But again, guys, this is kind of Q&A and open chat tonight, which I'm glad. I didn't know what would happen tonight. I thought maybe we actually have a really good crowd. I didn't know whether this would be people would find this boring or interesting, or we actually have a lot of people here tonight. So I'm glad this is. I don't know if people would like this or not like it. So this has been fun. So Dragon says it was out of nowhere. So that's really interesting. So mark down, if that was just this year, mark down when it happened and pay really close attention when it gets around that time this year again, too. There may be some significance time-wise to when it happened. So that's pretty weird. That is definitely weird. Which I have to say, some of you guys will know this. I know Christine will know this. We did the Kings of Hell, and we talked about that one demon that sometimes shows up as a girl with really big eyes. And then somebody in chat was like, "Don't you see a girl with really big eyes?" And I was like, "Oh, crap, don't say that." The other thing about that is they also show up as cats. It's kind of calmed down now, but I've had really weird like cat stuff happen since we did that show too, to the point of like we were doing a private investigation and they didn't have cats, and I was smelling like litter box, and it's really gross, but it was like cat food and cat poop, and just that I've had like really bizarre like cat stuff happen ever since we did that show, which again is kind of weird. But I haven't seen the creepy girl with the big eyes since then. Unlimited resources. Where would I investigate and what would I bring? There's a lot. So I'm going to give away some of these shows. These would be research places. But remember what I said. These would be there's a level of sensitivity to some of these. So take this for what it is. This is completely objective, wanting to find answers. Yeah, Carson, I'm a dog person too, as you can tell. You hear them all in the background. So there's no disrespect or lack of sensitivity to people involved in these associated with any of these. Chernobyl is definitely one. Couldn't go there right now. It's occupied by the war, but Chernobyl is one. There is a I want to call it. It's not area. I always get this mixed up. Unit 731. We're going to do a show on this. That actually may even be my number one spot. That is a horrible, horrible story, which we won't get into tonight. We will do a deep dive on that one. Not for people with a weak stomach. Unit 731. I'm not minimizing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not minimizing anything that happened in concentration camps, but I'm going to say Unit 731 is at least on the same level as like Auschwitz and the things that happened there. I don't think they killed the same volume of people. So in that level, not. But the cruelty and things that were done in that place, actually the level of cruelty is it is a sadistic place. So what I'll say right now is it was essentially a bioweapons research place, which is a really weird name. It was like the water purification research facility that the Japanese opened up in China after they invaded China in the 30s. And they operated it during World War II. So kind of in parallel with what was going on with Germany in Europe. And they did really sick, horrible experiments, including then taking some of these bioweapons and stuff and like launching them onto like villages and stuff in China. And just really, so I said, this won't be for the weak stomach. They did some really weird, almost like human centipede type stuff then too. Like they did some really bizarre, like they would like amputate arms and then reattach them on the opposite sides of the bodies and stuff. Like they did like nobody left Unit 731 alive. It was just a matter of how long they kept them alive to do research on them. And so it was all disgusting, sick, like medical research. And they even called them, since it was originally for forget what it was originally for, what they were originally calling it. So because of what they were saying, the original intent was for like lumber or something, they weren't even called people. They were referred to as logs. So it would be like log number 72, log number 80. Like they weren't even people. They referred to them as logs. Anyway, if a place is haunted, that place is haunted. Obviously, same thing, Auschwitz. If it's haunted, that place is haunted. Jonestown. I'm not sure how noisy with all the jungle background would be, but I'm sure Jonestown would be haunted. Those are traumatic that I think would have, things to it. Also, I think it got knocked down now, but, also Columbine, kind of the same thing. Now, from a interest standpoint, of just kind of an interesting, Poveglia is always really high up on my list. Just from I would love to see it, and I think it's really cool. Any asylum, there's a really cool asylum in I think it's on Tasmania. That looks really, really cool. I'd love to get into that one. Any of the ones in the U.S. that are still standing, anything in UK. I'm sure before, sadly, before all these horrible things happened in the world, there's probably some pretty freaky ones in Eastern Europe, and kind of Russia and stuff. That'd be interesting to see. Excuse me. So yeah, so there's a lot, and there's probably more that I'm not even thinking of yet, but that's also partially when I've said I will then dragons. Okay, so Macy, yes, you'll get to go on another investigation, Macy. I gotta get through. Yeah, Mary says, don't be offended if I don't watch that one. Yeah, there's a couple that I have that are going to be kind of gross. Steph, as far as I know, no one is investigated there. I haven't seen anything. It's in China, so I don't know if anyone's got there. It's it'll be a good one when we do that one. It's like I said, they did some brutal stuff. And that's one of the angles on. So some of these shows may look kind of almost historical, but that's kind of the angle I'm going for from them, is the history leads to like brutal stuff that these locations are probably really freaking haunted. Just like I know there's been some stories. I don't know if they ended up investigating it or not, but Devil's Island in French Guiana. I've seen some investigations or some stories down there, but I don't know if anybody's investigated it there. And then Cluj, Romania, that forest where Josh Gates did the neat stuff, which I have to still say, out of all the, I'm not a huge show guy, but I still have to say, out of all the shows, like his original Destination, I liked how he did stuff the best. So he's still my favorite. So yeah, so I hope I covered that. And I'll probably think of more as we keep talking here, because there's a lot when you really think about it. And I try to think of some kind of out of the box kind of things that I would like to hit and investigate. So, and I'm also up for any hospital. I love hospitals. So I'd go to any. It doesn't really matter where it's at. I'd be up for that. All right. Did I miss any other questions? I guess from what Dragons was saying, Macy kept asking to go on an investigation. Oh, Steph said about a door slamming shut. I missed that one. Yes, Chernobyl's on fire right now. I wonder about the residual radioactivity and how that energy may help things manifest too. I've also wondered about that with like, now I know that these areas have been rebuilt now, so I don't know, like it's probably too much noise background and stuff, but I always wondered about that with like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Also wondered about Fukushima as well. If things can manifest, if that residual energy helps things manifest as well. Yeah, that was the other thing. I was going to do the parking lot with the $1,000. I was actually going to do that this week too. I honestly was a little bit under. I don't know if it was just a combo of allergies and maybe a little bit of a bug or something. I also was a little not feeling the greatest this week, and so that was part of it too. I was going to try to get out and do that this weekend, and I just didn't get to it. I ended up getting like half the things done that I wanted to get done this weekend. So that will be a future show. Still doing the parking lot one. So we will do that parking lot. If you guys don't know about that, we're going to do the Phasm box, and I'm going to do it. I keep mixing up what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do like a Walmart or a grocery store parking lot, a hospital, like outside of the hospital, maybe outside of a church, and maybe a cemetery, and just see if there's any difference, and just see if we pick up anything different communication wise in those 4 different locations. So, well, we have a weird one. I'll do one on this too. We have it got knocked down now too, but we have a couple really weird ones right here in this part of North Carolina. But we have the it's actually right in this, basically the same suburbs of the city that I'm in, where we had the I think his name, he went by the name of Pazuzu, but the killer, and they had like the House of Horrors. He had like bodies in his house and stuff, and a bunch of people have done podcasts on him and stuff too. But that's actually like right here, like basically a different suburb of the same city I'm in, where he did that one. So that got knocked down, but I'm sure that place is pretty. I mean, not only were there murders and stuff there, but he actually was doing like, weird ritual crap and stuff. So I'm sure there's weird energies all associated with that property. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm curious about, is like, do we get any, if it's just random, if that program is just random voices, then there should be no difference in those 4 locations. So that's what I want to see. It would be 4 very different locations. So we'll see what we get. Mary Beth, you have to, if you figure out where that's at, I'm not familiar with that one. There's a whole list of serial killers to do, but I'm not on. Yeah, I don't know that one. Yeah, Heather, I don't know how to describe. It's just like if you have like suburbs. So we have 3 cities that are close together. So like none of the cities themselves are huge. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. But you combine them all together, it's actually a pretty decent kind of metro area. And so if you kind of look at, trying to figure this out, at Winston, if you kind of look at like Winston as a clock, suburb wise, I'm at like 3 o'clock. And that house would have been at like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So we're like opposite ends of the city, but both suburbs of the city. Maybe he was at 10 o'clock. I don't know, somewhere, but basically they were on the western suburbs and I'm on the eastern suburbs. All right. That's the one thing I've been in asylums. I've never been able to get into tunnels, and I would love to just get in the tunnels just to say I've been in the tunnels. I don't know if it's environment or if it's really, there is a certain thing with, I don't know how to describe this unless you've done it. You have to realize, people that have investigated will know exactly what I'm talking about here. There is an environmental factor. So there are, just being in certain places is going to make things more creepier. Like even like abandoned locations, there's like a psychological effect that if you're in a place that's empty, that isn't normally empty, like even if you get into like an airport late at night and the airport's like empty, there's like an inherent just psychological effect to that. It'll feel more uncomfortable because it's not supposed to be empty, kind of deal. So there, you have to factor that in when you're in places as well. So I'm sure that the tunnels under a asylum, just in general, there's going to be a little bit more of a psychological effect to that, as well as I'm sure there's acoustic effects down there. So I'm sure there's some things that just inherently are going to make it weirder and probably lend itself to more claims. But I would love to go down in one just to say that I've been down in one. And then also investigate just to see if I do notice anything different. Yeah, Jason, who's investigated with me, and we want to do now for me. Jason knows this. I think he was on one of the chats when I was talking about this. We still plan on doing things this year, but when we had the possibility of kind of World War III pop up and then gas like shoot up, I've put on hold actually booking anything yet. Because I kind of wanted to see the trajectory of where everything was going before I like economically committed myself to anything, particularly since I'm going to be dependent on other people economically committing as well. So yeah, we will do something, Jason, hopefully this summer, but I haven't made any commitments yet to anything. Yeah, so we're gonna do that one, and maybe I'll do that next week. It's I'm juggling a lot. It's funny. They kind of come in like waves, the things to do. So, but at least I'm not going to run out of. I have enough. I think I shared with some people just even show topics, not doing experiments or anything. I think I have like 300 already. So like that's like 6 years worth. So it's like we certainly have enough stuff to do. So we won't run out. Maybe eventually I'll start. It's a time thing, but maybe I'll start doing some of these in parallel. Maybe we'll do. I couldn't commit to like multiple weekly nights, but maybe, I'll do other shows, like one-off shows and things like that as well. Do I like investigating graveyards? Yes, I do. And I think I'm in the minority here. I know some people are like, why the heck would graveyards be? I believe absolutely graveyards are not haunted, but I believe graveyards have activity. And this is why. What do people do? They go and they visit graves of their loved ones. So do I believe that spirits permanently hang out in graveyards? No. Do I believe spirits can move around? Yes. Do I believe that if someone's kind of poking around a graveyard and maybe near somebody's gravesite and they kind of catch wind that somebody's kind of near there, are they going to kind of swing by to see who's like checking things out and see if it's somebody they know? Absolutely. So yeah, I believe that there's activity in graveyards, and that's why I kind of like hanging around graveyards. Again, I don't know how these things work, how they know who's where or any of those things, but I do believe that spirits check back on their resting place to see if anybody's left anything there, if they've come by to visit, if there's been anything along those lines, which again, world according to Matt, but I do believe if you have a loved one that you go to visit, I do believe that they know you've been there and they realize and appreciate that. All right. Getting caught up here. Anywhere I would not go or something you would not do. I almost should yell out to my wife to ask, what wouldn't I do? All right. Anywhere I wouldn't go. I'm thinking about that because, and again, folks in the chat will know I'm open-ended on the belief things, but and in my belief, I do believe in kind of evil and devil and demons and things like that. So I would say there's the possibility that there's some kind of ritual places I may not go. I wouldn't rule that out immediately. They're not hard nose. I will not do, and this is because I had some bad experiences. I had a very interesting Ouija board experience. So I won't do those. I won't do anything. It's funny, I do spirit communication, but I won't do any spirit communication where the spirit is using my body to communicate. So, no spirit writing, no planchette, no where there's a interface with the spirit kind of using me or using my energy. I won't do any invites to use energy. I'm very much on kind of a shields up, no personal space. I have had that experience. People that have investigated probably will know this too. You know it. It's like a feeling when something's kind of coming into your bubble and so I'm very protective over that. I will say this too, that I have quite a few EVPs. Not only do I have these dreams where things say they're going to kill me, I have many, many EVPs with like my full name, we hate you, die, F you. Like I get a unbelievable amount of hatred. When I used to do the show with my friend Luana, it's funny because she has all this like love and light stuff that she gets, and I just get, and I'm not like a butthole or anything. I kind of view it like I'm the guy that's here to punch the bully in the nose, and it's those kind of spirits that don't like me. So like I just get lots of crap. One person said at one point, it's like if you walk into like a bar or something, and you got these folks that are just trying to like size you up and stuff. So it's just that kind of, I have an unbelievable amount of hatred that I get in audio towards me, and so because of that, I don't want anything messing in my personal space, and so I have a little bit of I'm more guarded towards what I will and won't do in that spot. It's weird. I realize it's kind of contradictory because I'll explore and I'll try all these different things, but on the other hand, I'm kind of guarded as well because I know that at least from the evidence I've picked up, there's things out there that wish me harm. I hope that answered your question. If any of these, if feel free to like elaborate if I'm not answering your questions here. Oh, Jason, I didn't take it that you were disagreeing with me, so I'm not sure what I commented on that, so I apologize on that. Yeah, Steph, pricing can be. We usually do the group. We'll do the privates. I'll do the group things. I usually have enough folks, but then I always have to compensate because there's always, and it's fair. I mean, life happens. There's inevitably people that end up last minute not being able to go. So I always have to kind of I always make it non-refundable, and I always have to kind of compensate for that as well. You need to have enough numbers because usually when I book it, I'm the one. I'll book it, and then I'll have the people pay me. But I don't do. Just be clear, I don't do like events, right? Like I've stayed at it. I have nothing against people that do that stuff, but I've stayed up to this point. I've stayed away from cons, event, any of that stuff. I just kind of do my own private fun stuff. So yeah, Seth says, I question why spirit would want to stay at a graveyard rather than go to the. I don't think they stay in the graveyard, but I think they can check in. So I think they check in to see who stops by there because it's a stationary place where people could go to pay respects or leave things and stuff. So I think so I think if someone is there and stuff, they will come by to see what's there. And so that's why I think they're actually like, and I don't think they're stuck there. I don't think they're tied there, but I think the fact that that space exists is what would keep them around that spot. So it's not that they're even there and you're coming in there. I think the fact that you're going into that space, and not that they'll all do that, but the fact that you're going into that space, there will be some that'll be like, oh, who's this? It'll get on somebody's awareness. Hey, somebody's in the cemetery, and some of them will come in and check out to see who's there and what are they doing. All right, just getting caught up here. All right, Dragon says they knew somebody this is an interesting story. Saw a nasty looking like devilish face and they challenged it and things got really bad. Don't do that. Yeah, I would not advise doing that. Although I admittedly have said some pretty stupid stuff before. When things have gone after like other people or like kids and stuff like that, I've said some challenging crap. So I don't provoke, but when somebody else is getting like picked on or like scratched or something, then I will, yeah.
I'm trying to think where I put the seatbelts. Did I put them in the back of the trolley or?
So I'm just getting. Have you ever done where you left a paper and pen and pencil in here for a few nights to see if anything happens? I've done that and haven't got anything. The other thing I used to do, because I used to think maybe energy could make it go, and I've never had this work. I was actually kind of disappointed. I would do I would leave Etch-a-Sketches and my kids used to have these, but it's like that little magnetic. You'd have the little like pen and it would move the magnet. I used to leave those out in spots to see if anything could manipulate that to leave messages or anything. And I've done that for years and I've never had a positive response. All right, get caught up here. Yeah, Steph, I thought it was a great idea too, but I didn't get I didn't get the I've never gotten a positive response from it, so I don't know. Well, Mary Beth, thank you for being on with us. Yeah, Magnadoodles, that's what they were called. Yeah, I used to leave those out. I actually still have them. I'll still leave them out, but I've never had good luck with them. So, Dolly, I know you just hopping on, but this is kind of like an open topic Q&A, ask any question within the realm of decency night. Mary, I hope you have a great week. Hope to see you Tuesday. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised at some of my predictions from this week, so although I hope my big prediction for May is wrong. If anybody know, we actually did it on this channel. We did, Sarah and I did a predictions for the year, and I said the year was going to get progressively worse, but May I had said that there was going to be another sickness significantly worse than COVID that would hit, and so I certainly hope I'm wrong about that. But when you hear about stuff going on, and we're bombing, or not we're bombing, but the butthole over in Russia is shelling near nuclear power plants, and there's old stockpiles of all kinds of God knows what. That makes me nervous. So anyway, any other questions? We'll kind of keep this going until it runs out of steam. No, Dolly, no criminal story. Actually, so this is the other thing. So we had a story tonight, or I did have one. This is why we didn't open topic one, because we had a story tonight, and I'm having like this Mandela effect in that I found all these cool videos, and I'm like, this is going to make an awesome show. And then I decided this was the week I was going to do it, and I can't find them anywhere on the internet anymore. I found multiple videos like weeks ago, and then just kind of filed it away, and I can't find any of them anymore. So I got to just try to look, not the country where the event happened, not the story. It's like it was all made up. So it's really, really weird. And it was kind of an alien one, which, could feed some conspiracy theory stuff, but I don't know. So because of that, I didn't get I lost most of my research prep time. And then I was kind of not really sick, but I just didn't feel great this week. And so I didn't have, the other thing was I was going to do the Fazendbach experiments in these different locations, and I just didn't get a chance to do it. I felt too run down. So I just did it. So anything else? if we're running out of steam, I will shut it down at a little over an hour. Like I said, I think I'm good right now, but I'll have more at some point. All right. I guess I'll give a little bit of time yet in case anybody has any, because I have the time. I don't have to end. Usually when I'm doing the topic ones, I try to send them for about an hour. You never think of one of mine. That's not a problem. And if you guys have any specific topic ones you want to see, I can always change. They're probably already on my list, but we'll change it. And I might bump up next week. We may do the. I've had a couple guests asked to come on, so I'll try to shuffle that around and make that work too. And I got to do the. Do I record if my dog sense anything? Heather, have a great night. Yeah, hope to see you Tuesday. I had a lab husky mix that definitely saw stuff. She would get freaked out. There would be times where she normally would stay downstairs, and then there would be times where she would be upstairs and be scared to go downstairs, and she would she would definitely act freaked out. So she definitely sees stuff. These little guys now, I have just a pack of little. Thank you, Heather. I hope I do feel better. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's it's not the virus that's going around, and it just might be just the allergies are the pollen here gets horrible. I mean, we get we have a couple white cars, and they'll actually look like yellow, it gets that thick, and I don't know if it's that, and I'm just really responding bad to it this year or not. But I've been really, really, really run down. Really run down in the last couple of days. So, do they give you a heads up and then you investigate? No. I've not. My older dog, the bigger dog, has now passed away. She used to pick up on stuff. The little dogs, no, they seem oblivious. So I don't know if it's a breed thing or, yeah. So. Dolly's asking, how do I feel about energy fields? Not sure where you're going with that, but I do believe in them. And I do believe, I think that's actually kind of what you pick up. I believe that's even part of, when you talk about people being sensitive and things, I think it's, our energy, our cells and everything vibrate at a resonance. I think that's even when people talk about auras and stuff, that they go at a certain speed and everything. And so actually, we have a field that extends from us. And then, if I'm in the same room as you, your field and our field will actually intersect. And so who's to say that we're not picking up things from each other? And so that's kind of how you pick stuff up. The dog that passed was a husky and a lab mix. And she definitely would pick up stuff. The 5 that I have now are they all have Chihuahua in them, and they're just all. It's kind of why we have them all together, because they're clannish. They kind of form little packs, and they're lazy, and so I don't even know if they would notice a ghost if the ghost was in the house. And so, yeah, 3 are regular, and then one's a Dachshund mix, and then the other one that actually made the appearance on Tuesday was he's a mix of a bunch of stuff. He's Zolo, and he's got lab in him too. But yeah, I don't know. But the dog that passed, yeah, she had some times where when we heard all the doors opening and closing down here and stuff, and she would get freaked out, and she would never stay upstairs. And for a while, she would stay upstairs and sleep right next to me, on the floor next to my bed. Like she definitely acted scared. So stuff in here would freak her out. And they definitely like noticing things. So yeah, I definitely believe in the energy field. If that's what you meant, I believe in that. And I believe that's what these, entities or whatever, it's energy that they're kind of manipulating. They're hope that makes sense. We've had other dogs that could pick up. I've always, well, since I've been an adult, I've always had dogs, and so we've had different ones that have been able to pick up things. It seems to be the big. I've noticed that it seems to be the, at least in my experience, the larger dogs we've had seem to be more attuned. The smaller ones seem to be a little more clueless. Oh, yeah, about materials. Yeah, so yeah, that's a whole interesting. You can go a lot of different ways with that, Dolly. So yeah, there. Man, how do I want to go? How do I want to approach this? Yeah, the materials will have their own resonance and their own fields that they'll extend from. And then I actually think that there is a ability for, and I'm not sure if this is where you're going. I do believe that materials can absorb energy. So this is where I was getting at. Like, you have one of these big asylums gets knocked down, and that those stones then go and get repurposed somewhere else. That energy can translate, and you can get activity in where those stones get placed, if that makes sense. As well as I do believe there is something to landscape, much like water, helping activity, running water, providing energy for activity. I do believe the minerals in the ground make certain areas more conducive. It's not that the activity can be everywhere, but the minerals in the ground can be more conducive to the activity being manifested in a way that it's easier to see. I hope that makes sense. Well, that's good, Susie. And I didn't mean that to be blanket. That's saying all small dogs. I'm just saying from my experience, the bigger dogs seem to get it, and my smaller ones seem to be oblivious on it. But again, it could be a breed one too. Steph has an English sheepdog that would sense when they're around. Because I know there's some like small dogs that are very, very alert. Yes, that's asking about where they like sites of asylums, and I also had to Susie, like I have 5 small dogs, so that was not a diss on small dogs either. I love small dogs. Just the big one that passed would be totally freaked out by stuff, and these other ones will just lay on the sofa and not. I'm starting to think that we could have doors opening and closing, and they wouldn't notice. Yeah, I've actually heard some claims. This can all be anecdotal, but at some of these spots where some of these have been knocked down, and housing developments have been put up now on the sites of these asylums and stuff, that folks are experiencing things now, whether that's real or not, or whether people are just making those assumptions and just making the claim that people in those houses are now having weird experiences, and like they could just make that up and say it. I haven't seen any firsthand accounts of someone that says, "Hey, I'm living in this house on this property where this asylum was, and I'm having weird trouble." Hope that makes sense. That's true. Well, if you know anything about it, I think they have an unfair reputation, but cheese are a weird. Ours are sweet. Ours aren't like the stereotypical like ankle biters, but they're noisy. You can always hear them in the background when somebody comes. So they alert to everybody that's coming, but then they're kind of a hide under the table and make lots of noise to let the whole world know that people are there. So I would almost think, like Jason says there, that they could handle anything. That's why I almost think if they saw something in the house, they would react to it. So I don't know. My gut is with this current pack that I have that they don't see it. So they tend to not react, and I would think they would, particularly the new puppy. The new puppy is he's loud and ADD, and he's a COVID pup, so he's used to people being around. I don't know how he's going to deal. I mean, like I mentioned at the top of the show, that I have one more week, and then I'm gone again. I'm back to the office, so it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to things, because he's used to people being around all the time. So yeah, I don't know, Steph. There was a cool one. I was never I think it was gone before I even knew it was there, and I actually know people that got into the place, not that they could have got in legally. So I'll just kind of leave that as the disclaimer. But there was a really cool one not far from me in Philadelphia that was famous, and there's really cool videos of it. And I would have loved to have just even drove by it to see it. That's long gone, and now there's developments there. And yeah, it's a shame. I hate to see them go, because they're never going to come back. Not that they really should. I mean, it was kind of awful for the people that were in there, but all right, Dolly, I missed what you asked about the inquiring minds. All right, Dolly. I don't know. I think I missed part of what you were sending there, but yeah, I can look at mine's less of an interview show. I mean, there's a lot of interview shows out there, but I can certainly look at that. That was more of those other guys' stick. Taylor Hawkins, yeah, that was sad. It's looking like some of the stuff's starting to come out now. He certainly had a lot of stuff in his system, so that's certainly looking like that was the cause. Don't want to get out ahead of it, but that did get leaked. So sad news there. There's a video out if you haven't seen it. His last, I guess it was his last performance, where he was doing the Queen "Somebody to Love" cover. It's really awesome. It's a cool way to. It's a shame, but it's a really cool video on the way out. That's funny, Dolly. So, but whatever you're saying on that, there is, as far as I know, there's no rivalry, at least on my part, with that other show. And they're scheduling at almost the same time was not their doing. For folks that maybe don't know, there was another show on this channel on Monday night that actually we used to do the whole blog talk together. We were all together on the same show. And then they left, but the platform that they went to ended up being on almost the same time. We overlap, I think, a little bit. So it's all good. But that makes it a little weird. All righty. All right. So, any other questions? All right. Well, I guess we're wrapping down here. So, thank you, guys. I'm glad. I didn't know if anybody was even going to hop on and be on this, because it was a quick, again, kind of almost a filler, because I had two things happen. I couldn't do my experiment because I didn't feel great. And then I had this weird Mandela effect with this coil. If this happens, and you'll know it, I'll tee it up ahead of time. It is a really weird story which the fact that now I can't find it makes it even weirder. Really weird alien story. So we'll have that one coming up, but I think I know which one I'm going to do next. But I got to also sort out a bunch of folks that want to join as well. So I got to just kind of sort this all out. Next week will be the last week before I go back again. I don't think it's going to change anything that we do here. I haven't been doing the after show for a while, kind of because I was anticipating this happening, and I knew I couldn't be up really late once I went back. That's partially why I did that. As much as I love doing the after show, I knew that that was something that I wasn't going to be able to continue doing. So again, as always, thank you all for supporting. Give you the usual little plug. If you like the show, share it with people that you know that might like it. That always helps. Always subscribe, give a thumbs up, all that stuff. Appreciate it. Appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll be back next week with possibly Unit 731. That might be the way I go. So, which again, it's bad, but not. There's worse things we've covered. So, anyway, take care, guys. See you Tuesday. Make sure to show up for Astrology and Alchemy. We'll make more predictions. I certainly nailed the somebody putting a foot in their mouth. So we'll see what I do next week. All right, take care, guys.